So it's talking about believers to believers. How can you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, when all the time there is a plank in your own eye? You hypocrite. First take the plank out of your own eye, then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. The reason that we are judgmental, Jesus says in here, is that we find greater joy at looking the speck, and the speck is real there, and it's a real issue, and it's really hurting that person's eye, but we look at the speck, but we're not willing to look at our own plank, the board in our own eyes. He's saying, we have a problem. We're too quick. Now, I know some of you, you just think it's a spiritual gift that you have. I just see things that are wrong with other people. And what am I going to do with this? And it's a weight that God has given me. You don't know the things that I see, Kenton. As I go out in the world, I see this, and I see it. How are they going to know when you see it? Well, let me just help you with that. You are not that clever to identify that, okay? First of all, it's easy to see, okay? You're not uniquely gifted. Second, it's not a spiritual gift. You're just obnoxious, all right? And it's just you being critical. And what Jesus is saying is, you need to learn before you go out, the first thing that you've got to do is what? Look at the plank. What is the part in my own eyes? This is what you have to do. Now, here's the verse you got to remember. John 3:16 is the most famous verse in the whole Bible, right? God loved the world. John 3:17, the very next verse. What does it say? Jesus said, I did not come into the world to judge the world. I didn't come into the world to judge the world. And if you look at Jesus' life, he so backs it up. Look at the people he had as friends. They were broken, sinners, lost, tax collectors, people, prostitutes, people who made a mess of their life. If Jesus was judgmental, those people would have never been around Jesus. Jesus was not judgmental. Look at what he says. The Son of Man came eating and drinking, and they said, because Jesus hung around these sinners, he's a glutton. They said of Jesus, he was a drunkard, that he's a friend. Circle that word. Jesus was a friend to tax collectors, which was its own level of sinners. You know, there were sinners, notorious sinners, and the worst of the worst were tax collectors. He was a friend of tax collectors and sinners. Jesus models to us a non-judgmental lifestyle. Jesus said, I didn't come into the world to judge the world. I didn't even do this. So how did we get it so wrong? How is it that the world says of us, Christians, are judgmental?